everyone, good afternoon. How are things going today for a Saturday, a lovely Saturday? Weather is so nice. I actually had so much trouble on just setting up my webcam. And as you can see right now, my green screen is just it's just a bit broken from time to time. I don't know, some stuff are going on. I think it may be because of the weather. Usually it's not that bright, and I don't know if that's because of that or I'm just getting worse at setting up everything. I don't know. But yeah, what a lovely day today. Hey Metamurai, I see you on the chat. How are you doing? Um, yeah, another Saturday. It feels like we haven't had a coffee catch up for quite some time. I didn't do a stream at all on Saturday since our last AMA, simply because I was quite sick. So, um, I think last time I mentioned that I kind of got COVID, but with barely any symptoms. Well, I was lucky. Few days after that, maybe a week after, I got the flu. And let me tell you, that was another story. Like, I had the flu for 10 days, 10 full days of flu. It felt like it never ended. And so at some point, I barely had any voice. I had fever, I had a lot of fever. And so that's not really much about the fever, but more about the voice, that I didn't do any stream for quite some time. Simply because it requires to be speaking for quite some time, and even after 10 days of flu, I still had some days where my voice was just completely off. It took at least a good 2 weeks for my voice to get back. And funny thing, even right now, as soon as I go out, I don't know if it's something in the air or else, but I kind of start losing my voice or start coughing. I don't know if it's because of the flu that I had. It feel like it because it's the same feeling. But yeah, so no stream for, I don't know, at least 2 or 3 weeks. I thought about doing one last week, and then it was a bank holiday, and my voice was still a bit off. So I was like, let's just rest for another week, and we'll get back the week after. Still, we have another bank holiday weekend next week, but I hope that I'll be able to stream then. I mean, I don't see any reason why I wouldn't. So what's everyone plans? Have you done anything interesting for the past few weeks, or even for the bank holiday last week? Oh, that's hot. I know that I didn't plan much. I had a lot on my, not on my to-do list, but I had a lot of plans potentially to do on the past bank holiday, and yeah, I wasn't sure what to do. And my partner told me was a bit tired, wanted to rest. He didn't want it to go, for a trip in the forest or something. Like, you end up really tired at the end of the day. So I just booked one thing on my list. But then it was funny because booking some stuff for the weekend, or at least trying to find some ideas, it made me realize, oh, I can do that again. Before COVID, I had a bunch of things I wanted to do, and then COVID happened, and you stay home, and you have like your home routine where it's comfy at home. You're not planning anything. That's completely fine. But then starting planning a few things made me think, ooh, I can do that again. Oh, and maybe I can do that also. So I started booking a few things, and that means lots of ideas for the coming weeks, right? So hopefully going to have some kind of life restarting, or just a few things planned, which is also nice, quite exciting, to be honest. Not that I don't like being chilling out at home over the weekend, but still, it's good to be able to do a few things. But yeah, for this weekend, I think I'm just going to play some video games. And that's going to be about it, right? Simple weekend. The weather is very nice, so I may be going out tomorrow, but that's about it. Next week I'm planning something up. Next week there is the bank holiday weekend again, which is going to be hopefully as nice as the last one. So I'm planning to go just for a day trip, and that could be fun also. And also motivating to do more of these, right? More we not weekend trips, but like more day trips outside of London. So any work project, anything that anyone has been working on um, over the past few weeks? Yeah, few weeks already. I've been sharing a bit on social media about being an employee versus being a founder, and how it's very different and weird. But I don't know if it's funny, because some people have been actually reaching out to me after these tweets and being like, oh, I'm kind of in the same situation, or maybe soon in the same situation. So it's pretty nice to be able to speak openly about it and get people who get it or are worried about it, and just because that's a big step. And it never really happened the same way for everyone, right? You have some opportunities, you have some decisions. For example, for us, we haven't really said, okay, this is the day we stop the company and we look for a job. They haven't been this day. They have been the decision to be like, okay, let's see how we can exit, maybe try to sell, or have discussion with people because we need visibility. So it was kind of crescendo for us. And even right now, I haven't really shut down the company yet, because we could also have some opportunities coming up for that. But just being able to talk about the process or the thoughts, or what's happening really when you go from being a founder of your own company, basically driving the boat, to become an employee for someone else. And I'm sure many people have been worried about that as a founder. So it's actually good to be able to talk about it, and also exchange with some people on that too. Just being able to to share experiences, right? And also maybe reassure some people. I mean, maybe for me it may have been easier than other people, because I'm working with quite lots of freedom, so I'm not like stuck in a job, in a 9 to 5 job, or I have like my own responsibility. I'm not necessarily plugging in straight into a big team, and you have to get into the process and everything. Like I have joined a small team where I have quite some independence, doing my own thing. And also, well, I already knew the founder, so it also helped some things. But yeah, it's actually good to be able to talk about it. And it's funny, because I feel actually now more stressed than when I was a founder. And on online, someone actually told me this week that I always mention that I'm busy, and they ask me if it's just because, well, I'm in London, and in London everyone is always busy, and you always say that anyway. Or if it's really about being actually booked. Thing is, I feel much better when I accomplish things, and I'm sure that I'm not the only one in this situation where having a to-do list, it's not really the most stressful thing ever. It's more about accomplishing things, and on my to-do list there can be some professional stuff, but also some personal stuff, so it's a mix of things, right? But yeah, with this job, I'm busy, but I am lucky also that I'm working just 4 days a week, which gives me a long weekend every week, which is pretty nice, right? Another day is great to rest and to do other things. But as I mentioned also, I find it really hard to take a break. Maybe because we're working just 4 days a week. It's slightly more intense. You're just trying to accomplish everything over 4 days instead of five. But even just taking I don't know, a 30-minute away from my screen, I find it very challenging. It shouldn't be. It shouldn't be, especially as I'm not commuting. People aren't, when they commute, they're like completely off the screen, no internet, and for a while, right? But I just struggle doing that, struggle going for a walk, or even going to the shop or whatever. Just, I need to be 100% connected, even if I'm not 100% productive, it's just being connected, which is harder now as an employee compared to when I was a founder. I was like, okay, let's just go to the park, have a walking meeting to the park. I love to do that. I actually miss that a lot. I thought it was so great for productivity. You have some nice food, you sit down. Yeah, I was also sitting down for food. Now I'm just eating on my computer. But, sitting down for food, and then that you may be stressed, maybe thinking about a bunch of things, just going out for a walking meeting. I find this so helpful, just to get some fresh air, see something else, not be on a screen. And for productivity, that works like a charm, really. But yeah, for some reason, I find it harder now to do that. Also, maybe because I'm just alone on my screen, and I know I won't be able to check anything when I'm in the park. I don't know. It's really weird. A really, really weird feeling. And I also have a cool job, so that's okay. I think that also helps, right? I was when I was exchanging with someone else this week on the same topic. The person was kind of worried about joining another team and not having the time to focus on their company anymore, but also feeling like you have to fit in and be looking for a job. Like, what is even going to be my job title now that you've been doing a bit of everything, running your company? And it's very interesting, to be honest. If the founder of the startup that I'm working with right now, if he hasn't had come up with me a few days after my co-founder and I decided to look for the next step and look at selling the company and not pursuing the company anymore. Like, if he hadn't contacted me just by chance at this specific time, I was already wondering myself, like, what kind of job can I do, right? What do I want to do? That was the main question, right? There are some things that interest me, but is it the right timing to get into that right now or not? Do I really want to get into that right now, or do something in between? Like, what do I want to do next? And that was the major question that I think I was really wondering about. And luckily I didn't have to go through that, because I just went through LinkedIn a few times checking the jobs, but nothing really. I didn't apply to anything. So because this person contacted me saying, okay, I need someone right now to help me with this and that, I was like, okay, that's perfect timing. Actually, I can do that now. So really lucky for that. But I have no idea what kind of job I would have been looking for, because I've been working with startups for many years now, for 12 years. And the thing is, I've always been super interested in the accelerators program and all these programs that support startups. Problem is, they don't have money to pay someone. Like, clearly, you always wonder why they hire very young people and inexperienced people who actually are interested in startups, and that's a great way for them to learn about startups, helping other startups. But they don't have anyone like, they usually don't have many people that have a lot of experience with startups because they don't pay much, they don't have much money. So yeah, I knew that that wouldn't be a path I could pursue. So I was really like, should I get back to work for one startup or try to help more startups? Is it a good time to get into investment, which is something that always interested me, or not? Like I'm glad that I didn't have to go through these questions. Hey David, hey, how are you doing? Long time no see. How are things going for you? I was um, I was talking about going from a founder to being an employee in someone else's company, and how you have all these questions coming up. And I was lucky that I didn't had to answer them because I had an opportunity that came out of nowhere, out of the blues. I didn't even know that I didn't know much about what the new startup from um, from the founder that came back to me. I didn't know what he was building now. We didn't kept in touch much over the past few years since I left my previous job. So it was like, oh, you're doing that? That sounds pretty cool. Okay, you need help with that? Perfect, let's do that. Initially, it was potentially temporary, and yeah, we made it non-temporary. But it's super interesting, and I'm really excited about it, and I'm glad that I'm doing something that I can really bring value also to. So that's super cool. But yeah, it was like so weird when my co-founder and I we decided to look to sell the company and look what our options and exiting, and we were like, okay, is there a date where we need to say now we look for a job? Like, how do we even build the narrative around it? David, you say you're good. You might make yourself a coffee. Yes, please do. How long are you streaming for? I don't know. I think that's going to be a short stream, like just a quick coffee catch up thing. Um, New project you're working on? Yeah. So I have joined a few months ago a startup called Pool Data, actually, and it's around the data economy. So it's something I already worked in this ecosystem before. Basically, this project is at the intersection of Web 2 and Web 3, and yeah, it's a pretty interesting project. I already knew the founder, so it's pretty nice to work with him again, and I'm especially focusing on the investment part. So my official title is Head of Investor Relations. And the thing is, I am looking after the public fundraising and the private fundraising. So fundraising for private investors, but also fundraising from a token sale, which is going to happen in a few months. So it's like I have short deadlines, but that's perfect for me because I like to work like that, with deadline and things to do, and this way I'm also working with lots of people from the team. So I don't have like my team, but I also like that to be able to just work with everyone, but also do my own thing. Thanks, David. Yes, that's actually pretty cool, and I thought it would be. It's not easy to get back to being an employee, and I've never been a great employee in a sense that, yeah, there's a lot of traits that are great when you're a founder, but less great when you're an employee. So it's always difficult, and there are some challenges every day, of course, but it's actually easier than if I had to get back to a job just to start earning a bit of money because I have to get a job. And it's actually a great situation, and I am super lucky because I can't imagine how it would have been if I had to, if my co-founder and I made a decision in January, and if I had then to start looking for a job, let's say around February, March, and be like, okay, let's do my CV, reach out to companies, try to find if I fit into the roles. Like, yeah, I don't know. Maybe I would have been less excited about some opportunities, and would have been in a very different position without this specific opportunity. So that's pretty cool. Nice to have a wage community. Yes, even though it's funny, but I haven't had a salary for a very long time. Because even before building Whale Meta, I was always working on and off. So since I moved to the UK, so before the UK, I used to have a job and be paid every month. But when I moved to the UK, I started working a lot as a consultant also. So sometimes I was joining a company for a week or a month or 3 months and then leaving. So in terms of salary, I'm kind of used to be on and off. And so now I don't really take anything for granted, basically. When I got money every month, I'm not thinking about it like every month's money. I'm thinking about it like, oh, I got money this month. Maybe next month I won't. Even though now I know that I will, because I have notice periods and contracts and this kind of stuff. But still, I'm not thinking like, oh, I have money for months now. It's more like, oh yeah, this month I'm being paid. Next month, yes. This month I'm also being paid, which is always nice. David, you're working on a new startup. Cool. Are you working with a new startup or on a new startup? Like, is it your own startup? What are you building? Now, you're still doing stuff with Raise. Raise? Is that Raise? Yes, Raise Venture in Ireland. It's funny, there's so many people who have been moving jobs recently on my LinkedIn, like maybe not the past few weeks, but just before, maybe a month ago, I have seen everyone on LinkedIn just leaving their job for new opportunities, which is good. It's good most of the time, yeah. So you are the CEO of Sugar Financial Technology, or just Sugar for short. Oh, I like it. We're working on the future of finance, starting with small changes. Ooh, I want to hear more about that. So what is it about? Well, like, what do you do? Because the future of finance, I like it, especially if you keep working with small businesses. Like, that's super cool. Okay, so that's a contactless tip jar designed with Bitcoin as a payment processor. Oh, I see. That's cool. Okay. A tip jar. So is it for online purchasing? Is it for yourself, where you are kind of having some kind of vault or somewhere where you're locking a bit of money every payment you make, so for your own benefits to make a bit money on the side? Or is it more as a external tool for people? I'm so excited for you. That's super cool. CEO of a new startup, Sugar. I also love the name, so that sounds exciting. I love that. Oh, and you're still working with Raise. That's super nice. I feel that it's really stimulating to keep working with startups when you're building your own startup. It can be a bit isolating to be building your own startup, and so having the opportunity to chat with other founders is extremely helpful. But also sometimes being on the side where you are trying to provide advice for them, or just being in contact with many startups, it helps a lot. Just trying to learn what they do, and even if sometimes it's not directly applicable, you always learn something in the way they are approaching some problems, and you try to think, oh, I actually like this approach. How can I adapt this approach and have the same thing for my own business in my own industry? So you say that it's a physical tip jar to go into bars and restaurants at first. Okay, so that's what I thought about first. Okay, but you could see the project going into streamers and stuff, but first MVP would be hardware. Okay, cool. Oh, that's also super challenging to do something hardware in Europe, so that's pretty nice. You say that Raise may actually be coming to London for an event with Sid Legons. So yeah, let me know if you do that. I haven't been to a startup event for too long. I know they have restarted in London. I have received a bunch of invites for events, and I want to go, but in the same time, I don't want to get into the same, I don't know, the same thing that I was doing before COVID, where I was going to too many events with no real purpose sometimes, or sometimes to meet some people, but like, you know, like general startups events. You want to learn from it, but in the same time, you want to build your network, and then you never know you're going to meet, but you don't have like clear offer or clear ask. So, but you still feel like you have to go out anyway. Like you feel you have to do all these events. I think I was doing like 3 events a week. Yeah, 3 events a week for quite some time, and it was way too much. So I don't know. I want to go back, but yeah, I haven't yet found the motivation. David, you say you should fly to Belfast and come to Brew Crew sometimes, or Startup Coffee Morning. I saw that. Yeah, I saw that on social media. That sounds pretty cool. Yeah, I don't know if I could fly to Belfast just for a coffee morning thing, but I'd love to. I'd love to. Have I been to Belfast? No, I haven't. I haven't been to Belfast. I don't think so. I don't think so. Yeah, I saw these events. It's actually pretty nice, right? Morning events are great in general. They're a great idea. You are awake. You don't feel the pressure to have a really bad drink to drink. Like, you know, a really bad wine or something like that. And you're more energized, and then you keep going with your day without necessarily getting into your personal life either. Like, you don't come back at 10, 11, midnight and have to start working again a few hours after the morning. So yeah, that's pretty nice. I love that. I was about to go to an event, a morning event, a few weeks ago, and then I had some meeting booked for the morning and I had to cancel. It was an event of women in Web3, which is also funny because I used to be in Web3 a few years ago, and then I stopped when I started my company and starting also doing other stuff. And now I'm back to it. So I need to get more familiar with what I missed over the past 2 years, but also get back to some events. And it's funny sometimes to see some people that I used to see at events a few years ago, because now they're still it's still the same bubble, it's still the same sphere. So some people have moved out, but for example, this week I had a meeting with a few people, and one of them was someone I haven't seen for at least, I don't know, 3 years, 4 years. We weren't in touch at all, but because I'm back now to the Web3 ecosystem, I got to see her again. It was like, that's so amazing, you're still around, and you know, lots of things have moved, but you still have the people around, and that is so nice. Also, especially as I've seen so many people moving on or moving countries, especially at the start of the pandemic. So nice. But yeah, if I need to get back to events, It's tough, right? Just to get there, because especially when you're working from home completely, it's so tempting not to go out at all. And I have to push myself. I actually had to buy clothes yesterday because I realized I couldn't fit into any of my pants, like nothing, none of them. So I had to go out because, let's say I have to go for a weekend or for a business event. I can't go there wearing leggings and yoga pants. So, and David, you say, do you have plans in place to go after Web3 investors? Will that be a big challenge? It's no, it's not that much of a big challenge. So right now, with my current role, I've already been in touch with a number of investors, Web2 and Web3 investors, and also so we are. When I joined the company, they already have raised a certain amount of money. So they have raised the seed round and friend and family round for 3.7 million. So that was a pretty nice round. But when I came in, it was done, but there were a bunch of things to still do, like to finalize the round. And then I've been also initiating a first wave of meetings with investors, and now we're still also meeting with other investors while I'm also planning for the public fundraising. So yeah, I wouldn't necessarily... Something has been delivered to my place. No, thank you.
Okay, thanks.
So sorry for that. So yeah, I don't necessarily think that it's a big challenge to go after Web3 investors, especially now. You have more and more Web2 investors usual investors that are getting set up to invest in Web3 projects. So there is not the same barrier that you had a few years ago. A few years ago, if you were talking to traditional VCs, they wouldn't touch anything that had to do with blockchain, decentralized something. Like they didn't want to touch it at all. Now it's very different, where investors are all eager to talk to someone building something that uses blockchain in some ways, that mention Web3. And yeah, they're not really put off by these big words as they used to be. And now there is more education, there is more information. Now it's more about the difficulty for them, I think, is about how to go in terms of the investment strategy. So, you have investors raising money from LPs, and then they have a specific fund to make specific type of investment, and usually it's equity investment. But for example, if you're a Web3 project that plans to raise money through not equity but token investment, that means that the funds need to be set up to accept that. And so some of them, the most traditional one, may not be set up at all and be like, well, can you do equity instead? You have also the funds that are yet to be set up. So they're like, yeah, we're investing, we can do it, but not yet. And so it has to also match with your fundraising plans, right? Because even if you chat with someone, you're very excited about working with them, maybe getting some investment from them. If they can't do it when your round is open, and if they don't have clear visibility on when it will be done, it's a tough conversation, right? Because you want them on board, but they can't do it now. And so yeah, there's all these things to take in consideration. But globally, I see more and more traditional investors having either specific funds or being in the process of setting something to invest in Web3 projects specifically. And there is more understanding now of the technology. So yeah, no, it's actually not that big of a challenge. It's always challenging to fundraise, right, and to get investors. But I'd say it's also an industry that spread the word, right? So you have lots of funds that are very international. So you're not limited in the same way, because by default you are international quite often. So you're not necessarily limited by the limitation of your country or the place you're based. You may be speaking with someone in the morning that is based in Asia, someone in the afternoon that is based in the west coast of the US, and no one will ever raise anything about your location at all. So it's slightly more international, and lots of people, when they are, if they have invested or if they're really interested in what you do, they want to spread the word with the people they know. So I have seen also many investors making introductions to other investors they know, and that they know they can bring value or could be interested in what you do. So I would say the word is spreading a bit faster in the Web3 ecosystem. So yeah, if you're looking to fundraise and go after Web3 investors, happy to have a chat, David, anytime, of course. Yeah. It's a slightly different ecosystem, and yeah, but it's quite interesting too, and especially have like seeing the evolution over time. It's good to see that it's getting a bit more established. I think the difficulty is that you are still, even if you have a very solid project, you have still to compete for attention with projects that have various sizes, various interests, and various let's say, even if you have a bit of an established startup, if you build everything like a traditional startup, in the Web3 ecosystem, you also may be competing with lots of people who have just been building the startup on paper, right? So it's just slides at that stage. Or some people who are like, yeah, a bit weird. So yeah, it's hard to compete for attention. That's a real difficulty, because you may quickly be labeled as Web3, and the Web3 ecosystem is very large, right? You have all the DeFi movement around the finances, opportunities. You have the entire NFT world, which is quite different, right? So you kind of end up with almost two industry or two labels, right? You have the fact that you're on Web3, so that already gives you a label, but then you have your own industry that you're trying to change. You have the challenge that you're trying to solve, and so it's about positioning yourself between the two, because it can be tempting to go all into Web3, adopting the codes, the communication, the jokes, everything Web3. But then if your users are not necessarily Web3, but more traditional users coming from Web2, not necessarily like the people who have been investing in cryptocurrencies for years, and like all the token holders community, that's key to take in consideration for everything. For everything from your website to everything. So yeah. Do you think Web3 startups will ever stop traditional VC rounds and just focus on like community funded DAOs or NFT funded projects? They used to do that. So when I started working with Web3 startups, the first two startups in Web3, well, the other two startups in Web3 I ever worked with, there was Golem and Streamer. And they both are companies that did, massive ICOs, so massive token sales. And when I say massive, it's compared to today. So they both had around 30 million in just one token sale, right? So they had all the money they needed to bring the project to life and make it happen for a couple of years, just with this one ICO. So now it's slightly different over the years, but I would say it started as Web3 companies only mainly getting money from their community and from selling the token, and then over the years the traditional investors started stepping in and seeing the interest. Now, the interest for investors is clear and easy to understand. It's liquidity. Like, when you're investing in startups, and David, you know that better than I do, but like, you have to wait at least 10 years, especially if you're investing at early stage, to make a profit, right? So they have to go through a financial event to get your money back as an investor. You potentially have to wait to see if they're acquired or if they IPO. I mean, we are talking about very long terms. With token sales, you potentially, and I'm specifically talking about token sale instead of buying equity. You get the tokens. So yes, they're not like part of the company, but still. But as soon as the company does a token sale, you can start vesting. So of course there are cliffs and vesting periods depending on your terms, but you can start trading the tokens. You can start resuming the token. That's the day where things are really starting. But that means that even if you're vesting your tokens over, I don't know, over a year or even 2 years, you still have your money faster potentially than in traditional investment. Or at least you have liquidity. You have the opportunity to sell the token before, like, without any financial event, without any IPO, without anything happening. Just you issue them and then you sell them whenever you want. Yeah, David, that's massive, right? That's a lot of money. But it was a few years ago. Now today it's slightly different. You need different things, but also it's easier to get access to money from investors early on, because back then if you said blockchain, it was dead. Like, you couldn't get into any meeting with a VC at that time. Only a few specific VCs were taking the calls, and I think back then I remember maybe three VCs just in London, but no more than that could actually be interested. So things have changed, because now I don't know many VCs who just are not looking at all in the space. Hey Yinch, how you doing? No worries, you're not late. How are you doing? I'm sure you've been enjoying the summer outside, like such a lovely day. So don't be sorry for that. Yinch, you're always ahead of the curve. Yeah. Well, yeah, maybe. I don't know. Oh, you were jet washing the terrace. Oh, that sounds nice. I want to see that. I mean, you need to show a picture. Like, that sounds pretty nice. I need to like set up my patio also to do something. Hey, it's Noor. Hi, how are you doing? David, you say, I think a boom is coming again. The roaring 20s are coming for startups and investors. It is. It is coming, yes. There is definitely a rising interest. But then it's also about understanding the wider ecosystem and getting out, getting visibility, and it can be hard. But the thing is, sometimes if you're getting into a trend too early and it trends afterward, it's also a bit awkward because now sometimes when I introduce myself to people, I'm like, okay, so I worked in VR, AR, blockchain, and AI. And it's like, okay, that's too many buzzwords. You almost sounds like all these weird people that claim they're a bit everywhere, and immediately as soon as something is starting to be a bit hot, they're like, oh yeah, I'm working with that. For me, it was actually the opposite. I was working in VR before the Oculus Rift came out and before headset came out. So it was really odd because when it started really being a bit more hard, I was like, yeah, I had this amount of experience, but now I'm moving on. So I almost think that I've been moving out of these ecosystems a bit too early. Even though last time when I left the Web3 ecosystem, it was the start of the crypto winter, so that maybe wasn't that bad. I think it was maybe a bit tough at that time. But yeah, now we'll see how things go. It's pretty tough to also predict anything around the market. There is something with Web3 about hitting the market at the right time, that is impossible to predict. As I said, I'm working right now on our token sale, and it's pretty hard to be able to tell what's going to be the market like in a few months. You're like trying to ask people, and I'm like, maybe I'm missing something. Maybe there is something I don't know about. Maybe I've been out of the ecosystem for too long. But then you ask people who haven't left at all, and they're still in the same situation. Like no one can predict anything. So you just have to go with your plan, and if it happens to be a good time, great. If not, you may be able to see it coming just before, a few days before, weeks, I don't know. But yeah, you can't really predict much in this space, which makes things a bit tricky, right? You just have to keep trying. Exactly, yeah. You set a plan, you just stick to it, and then you have to also listen to the market. But you can't do everything just trying to be smarter than the market, or trying to forecast what is going to be. You just have to listen to the signals, but in the same time keep doing your thing. Yinchu says surviving failure is the only viable playbook. Yes, that's correct. How things going for you, Yinch, and for your startup, and for everything else you do? I was saying earlier, it's been a while since we had a coffee catch up, right? I was a bit sick over the past few weeks, and so I had the flu, which never ended. So I wanted to wait until my voice was completely back to be able to do another stream, um, and fully rested, which is the case now. Yinch, the bot apparently didn't like you using all caps. It was just one message. That's fine. Maybe Nightbot is a bit sensitive, right? That's completely fine to write in caps for one message. You're faster than bots. Yeah, you are. I like how the Nightbot message seems almost like human-like, in a sense that it really asks you, what were you thinking? Like, Oh, you say you have exciting meetings in the coming weeks, but you're not the front man. Nice. More work, more stuff coming up, or is it more like resolution and an existing project moving forward? Big names in big corps. That's pretty cool. Oh, and you're going to the show to show the demo of your metaverse client. Oh, nice. Yes, you've been working on it for months now already. So that's pretty nice. I think you mentioned it to me when I saw you in London. So exciting, exciting time. How do you find it working, or at least having meeting with um, big corporations? The last time I had a few meeting with a bigger organization, it was quite disappointed, to be honest. I don't know if it's because of the gaming industry or else, but yeah, I just felt quite disappointed. No one seems to be able to do anything. And they kept like acting if they were a very small company, and I find this frustrating when you're meeting with big organization and they just they just try to get you to pity them, and you're like, no, that should be the other way around. Like, you're a big organization, you have money, you can try to do stuff. That shouldn't be like, oh yeah, we're too small. No, you're not too small, you're huge. Yeah, you say large corporation are risk adverse, really, and surprisingly stingy. Yes. I don't know if it's because of the gaming industry, and I spoke to people from the gaming industry side, but yeah, I was a bit disappointed by that. I found things move faster, but also it's not about just being risk adverse, but just seeing the opportunities and making it happen. Um, it's easier in other industries. Oh yes, the line management and budget frameworks makes employee quite siloed in their thinking. Yes, definitely. Which is frustrating, right? Because when you're a big organization, you should have the firepower to engage in your project, to do things, especially if you see the benefits. There shouldn't be barriers just because of these silos. I mean, that doesn't make sense. Small companies like us have to capitalize on our agility. So true, yes. I've always said that the main strength of startups is to be able to move fast and just to get stuff done. Like, you don't need to spend months just thinking it, planning it. Like, you can just start doing it right now. And so adapting your approach as you go, starting talking to client, like, that's a huge strength. But yeah, you have to get to talk to some really senior people at big corporation to make anything happen. Even then, it won't be that fast. Yes, exactly. Exactly. And so you don't know where to go. You can't really go higher when you're already talking to someone senior with quite a high level job, and you're like, well, who am I supposed to speak to just see if this can happen? Like, yeah, I am glad. Just for that, I'm glad that we stop Meta, we stop working on it and pursuing new deals. Just because this was frustrating, and especially when you see people who are motivated, people who understand what you're doing and the benefits for them, and they just can't do anything. Even have at the highest level, like, we spoke to so many CTOs, and some of them really got it. They got the benefits of our technology. They just couldn't get any budget. Like, they clearly had no control on budget unless the marketing or the department could see a direct way to save money, like, straight away, or on something more critical. But yeah, No, that's I would not really have necessarily a great experience from the video game industry. I mean, it was fun, um, but also very frustrating not to be able to get anything done, and also to see such a long sales cycle. I mean, um, I actually remember speaking to some people like who were interested in having a project together, like a pilot or something, but with projects that have already been delayed and that were likely to be delayed, and so it could happen this year, next year, like no one knows, and yeah, it's a bit. Um, it's not. I wouldn't say not professional, but let's say yeah, it's less enjoyable. Um, Inch, eventually at all big companies the CFO is king. Do you think so? Do you think that CFO really have a lot of power? I don't think so. I'm not sure that CFO is really the people who make the decisions. You have a few people that actually can make some budgets and some stuff happen. I don't think the CFO really. CFOs, I see them more in the execution part. But maybe I'm wrong. I'm not sure about this really big companies. But yeah, I'm glad that I'm out of the video game industry. I also found people are very like community focused, which is always nice. But in the same time, it was a bit weird. All this community thing, like some drama, some stuff, and I clearly didn't want to get into any drama or anything like that. You have to get into the community, but it's yeah, it's really a small community. Hinge, the video game industry is weird. That's totally true. Yeah, I just wish that they were more like the tech ecosystem and not like a fully creative industry. Because this way they would have adopted faster lots of new technologies and yeah, that wasn't the case. That's fine. Great experience though. I think if I start another company in the future, that's definitely not going to be in the video game industry. But yeah, in something that is a bit faster to move, even definitely faster to move. Not going to be stuck again in the same situation. Even trying to sell the company. We've been speaking to a number of potential acquire, and yeah, that's people think that they understand. They don't understand. Some of them are not really super professional. Like it's really odd. And she said the last year has taught me the impact of being engaged with tech communities and genuine personal networking. It changes everything, yeah, when you manage to get into something more real, right? Personal, but not like people fighting each other or trying to get into something. Yeah. Oops, sorry. You say that somehow the WebXR community are very supportive. I think maybe because it's also smaller, right? The people that are still right now in WebXR, that's people who have been to it for a while and trying to fight for adoption. So maybe because it's less established, everyone is just trying to help each other because you just want to make it happen, right? And since it's not yet established, then everyone needs to cooperate. So it's to drive adoption. You say you were surprised, but that's super nice to hear. That's good. It's so important to be in a healthy community and feel like you can really, well, work with other people in the ecosystem and really plan some stuff together. So apart from cleaning your terrace, what's your plan for the weekend? You say it's led to significant contacts, including this metaverse client. Yeah, and I understand it has been quite exciting working with them, right? You also have a project for Oxford University Experimental Psychology Development, the department. You have so many projects. I don't know how you keep up with everything, but that's super nice for you because it's a small ecosystem, and being able to get lots of new clients while adoption is still a bit shy. That's super cool, right? It's too busy. Yeah. Does anyone use an Oculus? Oh, Yinch does. For sure. I don't have one anymore. Um, yeah, I don't. David, you got a Quest 2 recently, but looking for people to hang out with the metaverse. Yeah. That's the thing. Everyone is talking about the metaverse, but I don't think right now there is just one place that dominates anything. Just to meet, like, where are you going? I haven't tried the platform from Facebook. Is it launched? I think it is. I haven't tried at all. Yeah. But I think the headset have done a lot of progress over the years. So now it's good. It's less expensive, but now it's about the content and having a like the killer app. Even though it's not about having the killer app anymore, but it's more about having something outside of just a few small experiences, and being able to find them easily. Oh, you tried the Horizon events, so the place from Facebook, right? The kind of metaverse place from Facebook. How was it? Good, but you didn't try the full experience. I haven't tried at all. To be honest, I don't know if I would feel it more immersive than just a nice environment that I joined from my PC. Um, or that I would care for my current use. Maybe I think that the thing you need to have also the use that comes with it. If it's just to meet with people, there are a bunch of platforms that are very nice. You have a bit of kind of video game vibe and everything. Doesn't have to be fully immersive to just meet with people. So I'm wondering about what it brings really more than just running in a different environment from your PC directly. So Yinch, you said that's Horizon Worlds that's still only in North America. Oh, really? Okay. So David, you say it's cool. You have music gigs and stuff. Good to hang out. Okay. This Central Land is also pretty cool, but you need to try it on your MacBook. Yeah, the Central Land has been around also for a while. Even though I haven't heard any new news about people buying piece of lands recently. I'm sure it's still going on, but yeah, I'm not sure exactly what people are doing with it apart from buying lands at the moment, or if it's going to be kind of yeah, just mainly about that, and the people come to your land. I don't know. Ian should say that the current crop of metaverse offerings are still beholden video. Yes, yeah. Well, we'll see how this goes. That's the thing with the word metaverse. It means many different things. But everyone is working on something for the metaverse right now, and technically, a lot of things that you're working on anyone is working on could be applied in some ways to the metaverse. So kind of a tricky thing. But we'll see. I'm sure there will be, sometimes you have some platform that just emerge and offer something slightly different, and that's good enough to bring everyone else. I think at the moment, what is the closest? Maybe Roblox. Platform, huge amount of people. Yes, it's not immersive, but it still works, right? And you have huge amount of people doing different things, from playing the game to just building entire experiences to just hanging out. So I think actually that's the best example of what the metaverse is about. David, in your mind, this conversation is already in the metaverse. Yeah, that's true. It is. Yes, Roblox, perfect example. It uses user-generated content. Yeah. Well, I've never used Roblox, but I think the younger generation, and now I feel old, but I think the youngest people are actually hanging out there. I remember at the start of the pandemic, there have been classes through Roblox, and yeah, I think people do hang out there. Yinch, you used to go to Roblox. Ooh, so what is it really like? What can you do? Like, do you have to have something planned, or can you just explore and get to meet people? I think when they started implementing the remuneration system, and that created lots of questions, and lots of people being quite vocal about it, just because it's mainly an audience made of kids. And I think there is something about remunerating creators that build stuff, but then the remuneration system was a bit crap. So it was like lots of work for something that barely brings you any money. Can't remember exactly how it works, but I think they've been reworking this system. So yes, I think it's improving, but there have been lots of people like complaining about that, and also about the fact that the audience is mainly very young. So it was a bit like exploiting the youngest players. Yeah. Yes. For what I understand, also, yeah, you can create your own game and your own thing, and then participate in what other people are building. Yeah. So you should say Roblox takes care of the lobbying and matchmaking and server infrastructure, which is, I mean, huge, right? That brings kind of game creation to the hands of anyone. Once you don't have to care about lobbying, matchmaking, design also, like, yeah, you just create something within a game. That's also why it was Facebook who bought a game that was a bit similar. It was a bit like Roblox meets Fortnite. What's the name of this game again? I've been speaking with them before they got acquired by Facebook, and then they got acquired. Oh crap! I can't remember the name of the game. No, I don't remember it. But yeah, it was basically the kind of the same thing, where you could create your own content within their own platform, and so anyone could play the game and play your mini game. But I don't think Meta, I mean not Facebook, Meta, I don't think Meta has done anything around that. Yinch, Crater, yes, that was Crater, yes. So I remember speaking with the team before the acquisition, and then they just got too busy with the acquisition and everything. But I didn't see anything being done with that within Facebook or Meta. yet, which is a shame because it looked good. But I think that, I don't know, maybe they're staying independent, or maybe they're planning something, which could be interesting. Yinchi said the developer share on Roblox is 28%. Yeah, it makes Meta 52% generous. Yeah, that's crazy, right? David, I guess it is like TikTok where kids just use it, but then eventually the boomers or millennials like us, yeah, will go in and make it uncool. That would happen with every platform, like Facebook. Well, it's not the millennials that make it uncool. It was the older people using it. Like Facebook has been the main platform for my grandparents, I think, for quite some time, and then for parents. So yeah. Yinch, I have been making things uncool for decades. No, you don't, because you're part of the you know, it's not about your generation. It's more about your level of technical ability and technical awareness, I think. You know, there's some people who are our age, my age, well, who are, you know, not young but not old yet, who have nothing to do with technology. They don't need to be online all the day to work, and they're fine with that. These people are actually the one that are making a technology uncool. We are part of the tech ecosystem. We are part of the people who are making stuff cool. It's not about generation and our age, right? Yeah, true internet people. It doesn't matter about age. Exactly. Yes. I think I am a millennial, and sometimes when I browse Instagram, I like actually to spend time on Instagram. It help just switch off my brain. For me, it's like it's even more relaxing, or let's say less stimulating than 9gag. But yeah, even when I'm on Instagram, I see so many posts about millennials versus Gen Z, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm the old one now. You don't have time to feel old, Yinch. You're not old, and you're right. You don't have the time for that. But yeah, it's funny how when you get older, like what age is old is actually going further away. You know, a few years ago, it's like, oh yeah, it's not like if I had 40 years, or you know, and then you're like, well, no, 50 is still young. Like the age to be old is actually more like 50, and then you're like, oh well, 60 actually. As you get older, it's old is always further away. Yinch, you should be working on Avatar API instead of listening to Twitch. It depends. It's good also to have some chit chat and just relax. You can't be 100% working. And I've been feeling that recently, where I find it really hard to be away from my screen. Especially now that I'm working for someone else and not being a founder. I'm like really stressed out. And I shouldn't be. And I have to always be thinking, no, that's not my own business. I shouldn't be caring about that. That's not my thing, right? So just breathe and relax. And I find it really, really hard. And then during the day, I can't go out, you know. I find it really hard to just have a break. Just have a short break, because I'm not going to be on my computer, right? And what if someone else need to get something done right now or whatever? And yeah, I feel that means I am on my computer from about 8:30 in the morning to 7, and that's not normal working hours. That shouldn't be. And I'm not always 100% working, but still, that's not what it should be. I find it so hard to take a break. So if there is a moment where you should definitely take a break, it's during the weekend, like spending a few hours on Twitch, playing video games, or do whatever you want to do, like being on your jet washing your terrace. Exactly. That's a great thing. I need to do something for my patio as well. I need to do something to make it cozy so I can walk from them. Working in a different environment actually changes everything. So I won't be able to take calls because it resonates, so everyone will hear the entire conversation. But I need to make it more cozy and to clean it up because there are spider webs everywhere. It's small, but there are spider webs everywhere, that I need to clean up. But I need to also put some plants, some stuff that can live outside, so it's more cozy, so I can just establish a nice secondary work office, but better than the one I get now. Like more than a chair and a table, but actually something a bit more, green maybe, because I don't have a garden, so it's like all cement, and that's it. So apart from working, there's a bank holiday. Do you take bank holidays? When I was building Wayne Meta, I never took a single bank holiday. Like I wasn't even aware that there were bank holidays. I was always like scheduling meetings, and then the person says, "Oh no, that we can't do Monday. That's a bank holiday." And I was like, "Oh yeah, I didn't know." So are you taking bank holidays and days off like that? I am right now discovering what it's like to have an extra day off. So because I'm working in a company that has a 4 days a week, so we have like a policy, everyone is working 4 days a week. When I have a bank holiday, then there are just 3 days left in a week. So yesterday, like on Monday was a bank holiday, so I started the week on Tuesday. And on Thursday, or on Wednesday was like, oh, tomorrow night I'm actually again on a holiday. Like, it's going fast. But yeah, I'm rediscovering the idea of having days off, and it's so weird. So I want to book some things. Last bank holiday was more about resting. Next bank holiday, I want to plan a day trip away from London to the beach, to somewhere sunny, different. And I can do that. I forgot about it, right? So I need to do that. Inch, on the last Easter bank holiday, you say you did a bit less work. You had a shorter day instead of the usual 16 hours. Good. That's a step, right? No plans for the next bank holiday. That is already next week. Hey, Valka, how are you? How are you doing? Good to see you here today. When is it? Well, next weekend. That's, I think next Monday is a bank holiday. Now you asking me, so suddenly I have some doubts. I hope so, because I'm already making plans. No, that should be the bank holiday next week, so next Monday. Oh, that's a day with a big meeting in the USA. So yeah, you don't have choice, especially when you're working internationally. It's hard to be like, oh, that's a bank holiday, so no meeting, especially when it's your company. Hey, Junster, how are you doing? It's been a while indeed. Yes, doing good. Doing really well. I had almost too much rest last weekend for the bank holiday. When I started my week on Tuesday, I had so much energy. I felt that it was better for everyone I'm working with not to be in the same room, because I think they would have been, I could have been annoying, because I had so much energy, and even without any coffee or any tea, I was like buzzing, and I was like, you need to slow down. You maybe had too much rest or something. So yes, doing good, thank you. Velke, you start your new job on May 2nd. Ooh, that's soon. That's, let me check, that's next week, in a week or so. So today we are 23rd. You have your birthday next week, Velke. And then, okay, so it's in 2 weeks. Nice, congratulations for your new job. That's super cool, and I can't wait to hear about it once you've started. So Johnster, how have you been on your end? No new job for you, nothing out of the ordinary? It's been a while. It's been quite some time since I've seen you around, and also I haven't been streaming for at least the past 2-3 weeks since the last AMA. I was sick. I had the flu for a long time, for at least 2 weeks. So I haven't been streaming for the past few weeks. Yeah, Valka, that's going to be good for you to have a new job. Can't wait to see what it's like, to hear about it, because that's going to be quite different from your existing job, and that's always great. Have you managed to book some time off between jobs? Because that can really help. When I took my new job, so in January, because I wasn't job hunting or anything, and they needed someone to start ASAP. Like, I had a call on Friday and I started the job on Monday. So that was very short timing, but that was good. And actually, yeah, they were like almost no delay. So I didn't have a break, and I realized, crap, I haven't had a break for a long time. And when my co-founder and we decided to stop the company, we were like, okay, let's have some holiday, some time off before we get the job. And I got the job immediately, even before starting looking for it. So we didn't take a break, and that was okay. But I felt that sometimes it's really good to have a break between jobs. Okay, so you're kind of on holiday now. Okay, good. Great. Well, great news. I'm also doing the translation from the chat. But yeah, that's fantastic. Oops, sorry for the sound for that. Annoying, right? So what's everyone plans? Any new project? Any new stuff? Oh, I have done something actually. The last stream, I mentioned creating a page on SuperPeer. I've done it, and I already had a few meetings. It's actually pretty nice. So I have had my Buy Me a Coffee page for a long time now, and it's good. It's good for people who want to buy me a coffee, but I also had some extra for people to book one-to-one chats, and it's nice, but it was a bit confusing how the extra work. So I wanted to try something different for that. And SuperPeer is actually pretty nice. So you can do like classes, series, live streaming for small communities over there. But yeah, I've done it. I've created a page just for one-to-one consultation, like one-to-one chat, for people who want to discuss their founding plans or review the deck, or just have a chat, like consulting chat. But yeah, I find it quite nice. It's really weird because you're actually timed, so you don't really get to decide if you want to do it a bit longer or not. Like you have a really timed room just for the time of your session, so it's a bit stressful. Like in the end, you're like, ooh, I have to stop. But it was pretty nice, and I would definitely recommend it if anyone is looking into these kind of platforms. I find it quite useful. Yeah, I can't wait to do the next one. My next one is coming next week. That's going to be a full like deck review and stuff, so that's going to be quite nice. And I've also done something that I find quite cool, is advising a company on their grant. So I'm an assessor for Innovate UK, so I review some grants for the competition to say who I think should get the funding. But also doing so, I have learned so much about just creating the application and what people expect on the other end. So I've done a bit of advising for some companies lately, and obviously I won't be reviewing the application. If I assign the application, I will say that there is a conflict of interest. But I find it also quite stimulating to just get into such application and not just review it like a reviewer when I do it for Innovate UK, but also review it to think about what else, what do I want to see here, what to change there. And I didn't realize, but it was actually very useful for the company, or it felt really useful, because there were a lot of things that were very small fix, like, okay, here I feel some kind of dissonance between this question and this question. You just need to add a note about that there, if you mention it there. These kind of things. But hopefully it was really helpful, and I found this quite stimulating. The problem is it's hard to advertise. I can't be like, yeah, I'm an assessor. If you want me to review your grant, well, you can pay me for that. That's kind of tricky to advertise, especially as I don't want to write the grant for them. I can review it before they submit it, so they can change a few things, but I don't want to write it for them because that's a huge amount of work. So yeah, that's a bit tricky to advertise. But if I can do more of these, that can be quite interesting, because anyway, I do review all the applications for Innovate UK, which is something I really enjoy doing. I hate it when I have to do it because it usually comes suddenly, and it's like suddenly lots of applications to review in a short amount of time. So that means I'm quite booked for the weekend, most of the day, right? So I have to do at least 3 applications per day on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, for 2 weekends in a row. Usually that's the kind of timing that I have. So yeah, that's a lot. And in the end, I'm exhausted, but I also find it so stimulating and interesting to do. Sometimes frustrating also. You're like, I feel that they're doing something cool, but they're not explaining as they should. So yeah. Yinch, you have started a new company. No way. What is it about? Like, is this just a separate entity for a separate project that you've already done? Or is it a new idea that you're working on? We want to know. Like, David has a new company. You have a new company. Oh, that's a spin-off for the ski fit. Okay. So you're not adding more into your plate. I mean, kind of, I guess, if you're spinning it out. But that's great. That's super cool. So what does this mean? Does this mean that there are going to be more stuff going on with this key application, like new project and new things? or is it more of a way of compartmenting your work and being like, okay, this is just for this? Like, why did you need to make a spin-off for that? Does this mean lots of new stuff coming up? Anyone else has been starting a company recently? Everyone has started a new entity. Oh crap, that means that I need to start thinking about the next one for me. You said that there will be new project, but also separate the growth of VR fitness away from Playco main. Yeah, I understand. Yeah, that's quite different, right? It's good to also for the messaging and for explaining to clients and everything. Yeah, that makes sense. Oh, and there's more people involved in the startup. Oh, cool. That's great news. Yeah, I understand now why you're so busy. I mean, I knew all these projects going on, but if they're also growing, so you're temporarily the CEO and you will be the CTO. Ooh, nice. So someone else is coming on board to lead that. That sounds great. Well, congrats to you. Like, that's pretty cool. I think before starting the next company, I am going to relax a bit. Maybe enjoy getting a paycheck every month for a while. And I think about that maybe in a few months. Not yet. Not ready yet. Even though, yeah, could be ready, but no. Let's just enjoy a bit. Holidays. I haven't taken days off for so long. Yeah, let's do that. And then we'll think about creating a new company. And very differently. I don't want to end up in the same situation as we did for Wild Meta. So it's kind of tricky when it's not your first company, actually. Because you're excited to build something new again, but in the same time, you don't want to fail again. Not fail again. I don't see Wild Meta as a big failure, but in the end, it is a failure, commercial failure, not technical failure. But so you want to avoid what you've been stuck with before. You don't want to make the same mistake, and I feel it actually adds some pressure because failing once is okay. Failing twice, maybe a bit harder. So yeah, I don't know. I haven't been thinking much about that. Velka, you say you are going to build your own office this weekend. Okay, nice. Yes, do send me a picture, please. That's going to be nice. So I hope you have space for that in your place. But that's cool. It's nice to be building your own like office space. I have mine in my living room. I did before also have mine in my living room, but I had a bigger living room. It's more condensed, but I like that. Yin should say it was unavoidable to have a different company and have someone else leading. Yeah. You said that it needs funding to get enough attention for it to grow. Well, that's the thing, right? I mean, it's also quite different in terms of business model than your previous company. I mean, not your previous, but like Playco. So Playco is more like service based, and so SkiFit is really a real product on its own. And yeah, I guess it has to grow. It has to go to the next step, but it's too much when you have to be on the top of all these different projects. But that's good, right? I mean, it can be threatening to get someone to take over your project, but in the same time, that's great. It will save you some time, some headspace, and someone will be just dedicated to focus on it and make it grow. So I think that's a super nice next step. Yeah, you say you weren't ready for Playco to pivot and you want Skifit needed. Yeah, exactly, right. But it's good. I mean, that's I think that's something super positive because you're going to have someone to just make it grow for you, or for them also, but like to take it over, from you, and to make something um, that can actually grow, which is maybe not also the part that you want to work on, that what's really important for you. So yeah, you already have biz dev, just for ski feet. Okay, cool. That's super cool. I'm really excited for you. That's going to be nice. Yes, your live event with Decathlon. Yes, I remember that. That was well, I haven't been there to try out, but that was, I think, a great step indeed. So with more people on it, you'll be able to do much more, which is pretty cool. And especially as now it's not developed, right? So on the technical aspect, well, it's more the rest that needs work and needs to be developed. Valka, you say you had two office space and you want to build one single custom desk. That's nice. Yeah, it's good to have your own like desk area. Um, Depend if you're going to work from home also, like if it's just for playing video games and doing this kind of stuff, or working from home. But that's so important to have a nice setup, especially if you're on it like all day long. Oh, it's just for gaming. Okay, fine. Then that's easier. I feel, to build, because when you're on it every day, it really needs to be, well, to be good for everyday purpose, right? So you're going to be seated in this chair for many hours every day. I don't know what else I can do to improve my setup, actually, to just in terms of as a desk, and as a office space. I mean, I have natural light, one screen, but that's good enough. I have some space. My chair is comfy. So no, I think that's I haven't been thinking about improving it much. I have better light than in my previous flat, which means that I don't need to have like a ring or something for winter time. So yeah, no, apart from adding more plants or growing my existing plants, I always have compliments when I have meetings because of the plants in the background. So I know so many people are just blurring the black background or putting something like an image or something. What I do is, because of my hair, it's actually a bit messy to use the tools to remove the background. Uh, I have very nice plants, and so that works like a charm. And everyone is like, "Ooh, I love the plants behind you," and they can see it growing also when it's pushing new leaves. So I'm doing that for my background, for the day background, like for every day. But yeah, I don't see much to do now. With that, it was fun at the beginning when I was like thinking, oh, what do I need? But now I think that's good. Also, I'm using my mic, my streaming mic, every day, every call that I have. So good quality mic that changes everything for meeting. I actually do have some gaming plans for this weekend. We are going to play Satisfactory with my partner. We have seen so many people playing the game, and my only worries is that we may end up playing most of the night because it's hard to just stop playing. But yeah, it's already installed, so I think that's hopefully we'll be able to play this weekend and get into it. I can't wait. If it's good, and if it's, well, let's say easy enough to get into it, maybe I'm going to stream it next week. So I usually do one gaming stream a month, and yeah, I'm thinking if it's actually easy to understand, if it doesn't like take hours of tutorials to really get the game, maybe I'm going to stream this one as a discovery game for next week. We'll see. Or we'll skip the gaming stream and do something else. I don't know yet. But let's say playing the game this weekend will give me more visibility on that. The nice thing about working just 4 days a week is that my weekend started yesterday for me. So I already managed to spend an entire day to do things that I need to do. Which means that Saturday and Sunday I can really focus on just resting or just doing things with my partner. And I think that changes a lot of things. Like yesterday I spent the day just shopping. I hate shopping. But I had to do it. I had no choice. I really needed pants and jeans because I didn't fit into any of mine. And that means that, okay, this is done. Now I can focus on other stuff the rest of the weekend. And that really changes stuff. Well, I guess that's going to be it for today. We've been together for quite some time. I just wanted to do a quick coffee catch up because, well, apparently I've missed a lot. I mean, David creating a new cool startup, Yinch bringing the ski experience to the next step. That's pretty amazing. So I'm so glad that we managed to catch up on that. And yeah, we'll do the next stream next week. I really need to find my next guest for the next AMA. Which will happen certainly first week of May. So I need to get started right now. I do have some people open in tabs, like either their Twitter or LinkedIn open somewhere in my computer. But I really need to reach out to them to get the next guest secured and booked and everything, so that can be done, and then that will free my head a bit. But yeah, I need to find the next guest, but otherwise next stream should be next week. I'll be around on Saturday, so we'll do it that Saturday. And yeah, that's about it. Thanks everyone for joining. Lovely speaking with everyone as usual. Yinch, I'll let you get back to work then, or maybe chill out on the terrace. But yeah, Velka, also lovely seeing you today, and speak soon everyone. Enjoy the rest of the weekend. Get some time off also. Don't just be working non-stop, but get some time off, some time outside maybe. And I'll see you all very soon. Thanks everyone.